we're back for another video. What am I doing today? Well, we have some leftover acrylic, and I've been dealing with Tinkerman Mick. And one of his frustrations is when he's filming that his tweezers cover things up. You can't see what they're actually grabbing. So I've decided I might use and recycle the last little bit of acrylic I've got, or at least the 3mm stuff, and I might make some acrylic tweezers that we can see through. Now, you'll see me do a bit of designing in a montage that's coming up. However, because I don't always film things in sequence, you can see where I'm at the moment. Now, I've got a bunch of different designs. I designed a funny wonky shaped one that I decided actually going to be very inconvenient to use, so I've scrapped that idea. But I'm also making use of this to make a couple of little strap locks here for this yellow strap that's going to go onto the handles of a previous project, which I'm still using. It's my GPS assisted ionizing radiation survey meter. So, alright, let's get on with the design, and then we'll hop out to the laser cutter and see what happens. Okay, so I know it's kind of noisy in here. I can't help that. I'm going to do a test run with MDF first, and then that will give me a position to place my spare acrylic on, and from there we can cut these. If I've only got enough acrylic for one go, I always like to do a test run. So yeah, let's get cracking. Right, my test runs are done, and we can lift them out. Look like they're going to work okay. Should have a couple of test runs here. This should be okay. And I'll shave the tips down a little bit to make them a bit pointier, but looks like that's going to work. so they've been successfully cut, if we can focus on these. So they are a little bit thick at the tip, so the next step is to get them on the linisher here, and we'll narrow the tips down just a tiny bit. Right, so the next step is to give them a quick touch up on the wet and dry paper, and then we'll stick them on the buffing wheel, the rag wheel, with a bit of buffing compound. This should just smooth out the rough sanding we did just before. My apprentice in the background there is having some kind of a malfunction. I believe she's sick at the moment. Alright, smoothing it out a little bit. You don't need much for these. Acrylic is a fairly soft thing to work with. Alright, yep. It's not too bad. That way, while it does look a little opaque here, once we're finished polishing them, it should be back to an optic finish. And you should be able to see through that quite nicely. So, next time we see Tinkerman Mick doing a video where tweezers might obstruct what he's doing, these might be handy. You might. I had rearranged my whole setup in here for another purpose on another video, so I have to put everything back again and reconnect wiring. Alright, now we have some Josco brand iron oxide buffing compound. That's usually enough to get the finish I want, if I don't accidentally drop them in the bin. Alright. You can see here, you can see right through it. Where's my lens? Come here, lens. You can see right through it now. That's what we want. Alright, let's go put them together. Okay, we have a mess of parts. Let's get these sorted out between acrylic and timber. Okay, so for this bit I need some previous donations from Tinkerman Mick, which were the inspiration for the shape and design of these. One of the hardest bits I have, particularly with MS, and you'll notice I'm not holding these exactly steady, because today is a day where multiple sclerosis caught up with me. I spent a long day yesterday running around with my Geiger counter, scanning for radiation, where I actually did find some. But I walked quite a bit more than I should have. My knees went numb, and as did my hand, and a few other things, so it's just the stuff I've got to deal with these days. So the most challenging bit I have with this is getting this scratch proofing tape off these. So we'll continue with peeling this off, and then we'll get into it with the glue and the screws. Now, I have one of these assembled, and originally I was just going to leave these screws in here because it looks really nice, but without the glue, there's a tiny bit of slack in the screws. These can get misaligned, so I think I'm going to glue and screw this, and then I'll give those tips a bit more of a polish. They're a bit dirty still. Alright, let's keep going. Now, I'm not sure how good the quality will be. I'm operating on digital zoom here, but this is where you get to see me glue my fingers together with super glue. Drop all this together. I really don't need much at all with these. Now I need to make sure these are the right way up and are aligned correctly. That looks good. Well, I'm just going to hold that there for a few seconds, peel my fingers off that tried to glue on there, and then we'll just give it a bit more of a press down to hold it all together. And that's pretty well glued. We'll wipe along the sides on the rag underneath. That should smooth it out, and I'll give that a little bit of a polish in a moment. And if I can remove these screws, it will be great. Let's pull my... Actually, we can probably see right here. I'm going to try and pull these screws out before they get stuck in with super glue. They are mostly there just to hold everything in. Right. So once this glue sets, we'll have a nice set of transparent acrylic tweezers. We can see the tip here does need a little bit more finishing, but that's easy enough to do. So these should work rather well. We can test now. We'll pick these up. They're probably a bit big to pick up with it, but let's try a nut over here. We can pick up a nut quite clearly, and we can do stuff, and it's easy to see through the tweezers exactly what's going on. So hopefully this will help Tinkerman Mick with his work. Let's assemble a few more, and we'll see the finished product soon. Alright, so they're all finished. I'm keeping a square-edged pair for myself because I've got reasons. They'll be handy. Got a non-conductive wooden pair as a test. I'm going to keep them as well. And I've got a very long wooden pair as well. These will be handy. I'll use them later. Now, for reference, this is the length that these ones should have been, but I got to the edge of my sheet, so they're a little bit shorter. That doesn't matter. Let's have a look at how these work. So there is a piece wedged in the middle here, and this can be slid up and down to adjust the width of the jaws. And if Tinkerman Mick decides he wants to keep them that way, he can glue it in place. I notice, now that I'm looking at it through the camera, there is a little bit of buffing compound left to wipe off. Let's just clear that off. And guys, remember to disable your alarm before you start filming. I've been caught a number of times lately with that. Let's get that off here. Alright, that is almost clean. I'm pretty picky about getting this compound off stuff, especially when it's optic quality. So there's still a little bit on there, but you know, it will be alright. So now we can pick up things, and you should be able to see through that what we're picking up. Do I have an example? Here's a tangle of fluorescent string. We should be able to see quite clearly what we're doing through these tweezers, even if we get quite a big bunch of stuff happening all the way up the jaws here. Should be able to easily see what's going on in those jaws. They won't obstruct filming. Same goes for the spade tip ones. Should be able to see through them quite well. Let's look at the zoom level that Tinkerman Mick would be working at. Somewhere more like this. So we can see these tweezers coming in and grabbing this, and quite clearly we can see what's going on. I'll take our pointed tip ones and do the same. We can pick up very tiny things here without it affecting things. Where are we? Let's see if I can get in there like that. That should be good. That should help filming. And we'll try our other type as well. Come in like that. There we go. Alright, so I think that's a good success, and it means if he's filming something, you can see through to behind the tweezers. So that should make for better educational material. Let's come back to our normal zoom level. Alright, so I might see if I can get clearance to go and see Tinkerman Mick and drop these off today. I'm sure he'll be happy with the delivery. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Now, just before I take off, I thought I'd show you how the strap clips worked, and they are working quite nicely. So now, if I can do this one-handed, maybe not, let's see. If I can do this one-handed, the whole thing can suspend off the straps like that. That works very nicely. It can be shoulder mounted now, or I can walk around with it in my hand and get a close reading without having to bend over. That's good. Alright, let's see if we can harass Tinkerman Mick. Alright, so I've made my way over to Tinkerman Mick's, and we're going to see how he reacts to the new gifts that we've got for him. And there's several of them. I have to extract them from my from my pocket.
You got them done quick. These are awesome.
Now, the laser does a pretty quick job of them. But now when you're filming, you can pick up stuff on film, and people can see through. The tweezers won't obstruct what you're doing.
And we can do some pretty cool lighting. Yeah, you can see straight through them. They're crystal clear.
Yeah.
That's cool as.
I buffed them up to make them nice and shiny and optically usable.
Yeah, they are.
And these ones here have a little sliding bit in the middle. You can slide it up and down to adjust the width of the tweezers.
That's really cool. I like how you've tapered the edges in too.
Yeah, well, it's hard to use tweezers with a square edge, so.
Wow. They're going to be cool as for filming with. It's literally straight through.
Yeah, because I noticed with some of your videos when we're doing that, the tweezers kind of got in the way of the action.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Stoked.
Cool. All right. We'll see you all next time in the next video. Hopefully it'll be something good.